The consumer has basically not known very much about what Riesling looks like in its final form when you finally pull the cork. Because you look at the bottle, it says Riesling, it doesn't tell you the sugar content, and Riesling is possibly made sweet or possibly made dry or maybe off dry, medium dry, whatever it is, and the consumer really didn't have any clue. So what we tried to do is to establish a form for all of these wines to fit into. That would be a category that would establish what is a dry wine, what is a medium dry wine, what is a medium sweet wine, what's a sweet wine. So there are 4 categories, and those categories are defined for the winemaker by specific technical guidelines. And the winemaker then can apply what's in his wine through the guidelines and determine how to identify it for the consumer. So at that point, the label on the back label can say, for example, this is a medium dry wine because it has perhaps 1.2% residual sugar, but appropriate acidity, appropriate pH. The consumer doesn't have to worry about acid and pH and all those technical issues as long as the winery can put something on a label that is easily identifiable for the consumer.
Did this have to go through the TTB or the government to get approval for this, or how does that work?
It was voluntary. The TTB, frankly, wasn't interested. They didn't care what we said as long as we said something that was truthful, and that was the whole idea. So we said we'll put the guidelines on our website, on the International Riesling Foundation website. We'll put it up there. Anybody who wants to look at it can look at it, and the winemakers have looked at it, and they use the technical guidelines for making the final determination of what qualifies for a dry and a medium dry wine.
So is it involved strictly with the numbers, or is there a subjective evaluation of the wines from the winemaker's point of view?
The winemaker theoretically can do anything they choose. They could take a dry wine and call it sweet if they wanted to, but it would be against their own principles. It would be counter to their marketing efforts. The best thing they can do would be to apply the guidelines that we've used appropriately. We leave a fudge factor in there. That is to say, the pH is really a critical factor for the winery, and they know this. And consumers would be somewhat confused if we started putting pHs on the back label. So what we've done is we let the winemaker make that final decision by saying, okay, we'll use the pH as our fudge factor, and if the pH goes way down, then the wine is going to be drier, therefore we can make the wine drier. The chart actually is really flexible. If you want to put your arrow at the very lowest level, that's a bone dry wine, but you could still be dry even though you may have 0.9% residual sugar.
Any wineries that have adopted this so far?
About a dozen wineries in the United States and 3 or 4 overseas. There's a New Zealand winery that was just thrilled to do it. We've got one Australian winery doing it. And we have a number of wineries in California that are doing it, but I think that the real trick is when Chateau Saint Michelle adopts it, because they're using wonderful quality fruit. They've got a superb winemaker, and they're making terrific wine. And I think the word is out that Chateau Saint Michelle is on the verge of making use of this, and this is a terrific advance for us because this is a really visible winery with making terrific wines. And I think when you're making over 1 million cases of Riesling and it's all excellent, then it's really important for the International Riesling Foundation to piggyback that.
Who's involved in the International Riesling Foundation?
The executive director is Jim Trezeis from the New York State Wine and Grape Foundation. One of the executive directors, the treasurer, is Coke Roth from right here in the Tri-Cities. I'm on the board of directors. We have members who are board of directors people who are from Australia, from Germany, from Alsace, and so forth. So it's a pretty widely accepted organization. It's a little bit in its infancy, I would say. It's probably only about 18 months old, but we're really making huge strides to get recognition. We have a really nice website called drinkriesling.com.
All right. Anything to add?
Yeah, I'm personally involved in this because I think Riesling is one of the great wine grapes in the world. I think it's probably a better wine grape than Chardonnay. We sell a lot of Chardonnay in this country. We don't sell very much Riesling, but it's growing. It's growing by leaps and bounds. We're seeing a lot more people making Riesling, a lot more acreage is going in, and Riesling is just simply underappreciated. And I think we need to see more Riesling on the shelf and more people buying it and appreciating it for what it is.
Great. Thank you, Dan.
Thanks.